Olix Network 18, Mission Poshan, Bhavishya Roshan.
Okay, just 4 hours to go and we'll know what is on the RBI Governor Urjit Patel's mind with respect to the rate hike. It could be the first rate hike in 4.5 years. So let's see whether it comes through. This is the top story that we're tracking today. The Monetary Policy Committee, headed by the RBI Governor, will give its decision later this afternoon, and all indications are that a rate hike is coming. Ahead of the big event, Lata in fact caught up with the Citizens Monetary Policy Committee and asked them their expectations from the policy this time and the probable tone of the RBI. Listen in.
Now it's time for you, gentlemen and lady, to vote. Let me start first with the question, should the MPC hike rates or not? Hike or pause, Soumya?
Not yet.
Okay, no hike. Shamiran? Yes, a hike of 25 basis points.
They should
Sajid?
hike, but we're indifferent between June and August.
Okay, so you're not expecting in June. You have to vote.
Yeah.
Are you voting for a hike in June?
I probably would, but if it's August, it's, I would be indifferent.
You're not voting for a hike. Should I take you as a yes or a no?
For June, yes.
Yes. Okay, Sonal, is it a hike in June or a pause?
Question is should. I think they should hike in June.
Okay. Dr. Sen, well, there is 3 hikes now in June. Samiran, Sajid and Sonal. Soumya says no hike. Dr. Sen? Hold. But you outvoted, sir. This Monetary Policy Committee, 3:2 votes for a rate hike. Okay, now for a change in stance. Soumya, is there a change in stance?
No.
No, no change in stance. Okay, you have to raise the board. It's a maybe from Samiran. Sajid? Yes, you have to tighten the stance. That's the point from Sajid. Sonal, what's your vote?
Tighten stance.
Yes, tighten stance. So 2 tighten stance, 2 not tighten. Dr. Sen? Oh yes, tighten stance. So 3 people asking for tighten. Clearly, the MPC is in favor of tightening and hiking. The final question to you, how many rate hikes do you expect in the current year? That is calendar 2018, 25 basis, 50 basis?
I'll look out for more data as of now.
Okay, so not vouching for anything. Shamiran, 50 basis rate hike this year. Sajid, 25 to 50 basis rate hike this year. Sonal?
50 basis
That's a 50 basis rate hike. Dr. Sen?
I think I'd wait till the August meeting.
Wait for more data. All right.
It's too early to take a call. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But there is a definitive voice coming from this Monetary Policy Committee that a rate hike is called for. It is 3:2, so it's just 1 vote that is going in favor of a hike. In all probability, that's going to be the situation in the RBI's MPC as well. We know for a fact that Michael Patra and maybe Dr. Viral Acharya are going to vote for withdrawal of accommodation and a rate hike. So we will wait to see whether it is 3 and a casting vote. All right. As I have been saying, one needn't worry about it because it is output gap closing, which is good. Economy doing well. That's why there's a rate hike. And secondly, it's largely in the yield. I would really wait for the voting pattern. If it is 4:2, Viral Acharya anyway is expected to vote over for a rate hike. And if 2 more people join him, then there is a rate hike. But 4:2 is still not a very, very hawkish sign. If it were 5 people saying hike the rates by 25 and 1 says hike by 50, which is quite likely Michael Patra, then you have a very hawkish, outcome. Of course, one will have to see whether anywhere in the language the indication is this is the start of a cycle. Yeah. That again will be taken as a little negative. But I would think it could well be the other way around. They would say for the moment we are waiting till the MSP comes and then we will hike. then I think the market will be fine.
Okay, I guess hawkish pause is something that the market is prepared for, right? All right, let's move on.
That will come as a pleasant surprise.
It will come, as Chetan Nayyar was also telling us earlier in the day. But Gautam Chacharya, the MD and Head of India Research at UBS Securities, joins us now to talk about the markets and, of course, the mid-cap space. In fact, they have a conference, a mid-cap conference that starts tomorrow. It's a two-day conference. Gautam, hi, good morning. Mid-caps is a scary place to be right now. I mean, look at the falls that we've had, 40–50%. You have a conference starting tomorrow. Tell us a little bit about that and what you're advising investors to do now.
Good morning. So we're still advising investors to stay underweight mid-caps as an asset class. That's been our call this year. And despite that, I think there's always alpha opportunity in mid-caps. Even our analysis, if you look at dispersion of returns, it clearly suggests more alpha in mid-caps than large caps in India over the last few years. It's very intuitive, but even data suggests that. And if you look at the conference also, the idea of having a conference also is to try and identify these bottom-up opportunities, which is where our research is focused on. So the interest level from investors, both foreign and local, is still there. It's a tad bit below than last year, but still alive. They're still looking for individual bottom-up opportunities. And therefore, the attendance is still impressive for us.
Okay. Oh, that's good to hear, Gautam, because, I mean, the manner in which mid-caps have gotten pummeled in year to date in calendar 2018 is a bit scary. At an index level, you may say the CNX 100 has fallen perhaps by 10–12% from the highs, but individual stocks have taken a pasting. So therefore this question, do you think even in your choice stocks, all of which I'm sure have very good fundamentals, is this the time to buy, or do you think this sheer scare is going to give us better valuations maybe a month, 2 months, a quarter down the line?
Look, our broader market call itself is not constructive, so we are cautious on the broader markets any which way. So from a risk-reward perspective, to buy either the large caps or small mid-caps is not now. You'll get better opportunities later on in the year. That's our base call. Having said that, if you look at the broader mid-caps, even after correction of whatever numbers you talk about, mid-caps are still at about 20% premium to large caps on a forward earnings basis, and 40% premium on a trailing earnings basis. So despite the correction, as a broad asset class, the valuations are off the charts versus history and still looking not really attractive. So even in the broader market caution call, we would still advise even higher caution in small and mid caps and not the right point to come in. Individual stocks with good fundamentals where you have growth visibility or potential for growth surprising positively. Obviously, there are always such opportunities in a market like India.
Okay, in fact, let's talk about some of those opportunities, because I was going through your most favored stocks list and it does have names like Voltas, Arvind, Dr. Lal PathLabs, a lot of market leaders in their own spaces. Talk a little bit about names like Voltas. I mean, these are stocks that have already corrected about 20–25% this year, but healthy businesses, good scope. Is this the time to buy, or as you suggested, perhaps wait a little?
So I can't comment on individual stock, but basically our top picks are premised on 2–3 parameters. One is obviously quality of business and being market leaders, but also where we see potential for earnings to possibly even surprise positively, or at least the visibility is high of good levels of earnings growth. And the second element is if valuations perspective. Now, right now it's very difficult to find value in India. But for the mid-caps we have in our list, at least the valuations are supported compared to history, compared to peer group. So if you have these two criteria being met, then we look at individual stocks as top ideas. But yes, broader asset class is the right time. Possibly you'll get better opportunities later in the year.
Okay. Well, where are all the finance companies? I see only Equitas in your list. I thought the blue-eyed boys would always be private banks. The RBLs will always be there. Of course, yours is the mid-cap list. But everyone only wants private banks, HDFC, Kotak. What have you?
So we still remain overweight private banks as well as corporate lenders in our large cap portfolio. We like the non-bank financials also, and we remain, so we like them as a broad asset, broad class. Yeah, mid caps obviously will be focused on below market cap size, but businesses focused on smaller businesses, individuals, retail, or non-bank financials, we continue to like them.
Okay. You know, you began by saying that you're not very constructive on the broader markets. What is the bear case? Are we going towards the 10,000 mark? I mean, we seem to be finding support every time we go towards 10,400. Indeed, even 10,600.
So a couple of things. Our base case for Nifty is still 10,500 for December 18. That's off roughly 18 times PE multiple. But we still expect further earnings cuts. So we have seen in this quarterly season 3% cuts to Nifty. We expect another 6 to 10% cuts for fiscal 19 and 20. Having said that, if you look at valuation multiples, they haven't followed through the rise in bond yields yet in India. So there is scope for further de-rating. We don't know that that happens because the local flows are still reasonably strong. And even the foreign selling in Indian equity markets has been limited. We haven't seen much of that. But that's also in the context of more than $50 billion inflows, which emerging markets have got this year. So if we see emerging market outflows, then that could be a pressure point for India. But the risk reward to us is not attractive here. We'll look at turning more positive, if at all, below 10,000 levels.
Okay. You know, after the Walmart deal, all eyes have now gotten back to the retail space. And within that, you do like names like Arvind. But these are stories that have played out quite a bit over the last couple of years. You still see more to go there?
So in general, if you look at retailing, this is clearly one of those multi-year secular opportunities. And one of the theses we had from our detailed work on jobs creation, etc., is that the upper middle class and the higher income category can actually accelerate in terms of growth in the number of households compared to last 5 years. And that, in our sense, is not yet reflected in the growth estimates of valuations of companies exposed to that. So a lot of the retailing should benefit from that, but it also depends on individual companies and their model.
Okay. There are all the staples. You don't like the pizza guys?
So I can't comment on individual companies, but staples, we remain neutral. Again, individual companies we still like.
Okay, well, maybe it's a personal preference as well, right? But Gautam, what about the macros? I was going through your note where you say that your economists forecast a 50 basis points repo rate hike in this fiscal. But what about today itself? If we do get a rate hike, how would you read it from a market standpoint?
So markets will worry about it because that will be a reinforcement of what the 10-year bond yield movement suggests to the market. Because the 10-year bond yields moving up has not really impacted equity market multiples. But depending on RBI's commentary also, as you were saying earlier, whether this is just a one hike or they signal a beginning of a hike cycle, or they do the hike with the background of global macros or with real worries about Indian inflation trajectory. I think those things will determine about the market multiples. So definitely will be an issue. Our economist thinks that the probability of a rate hike today has gone up, definitely.
Okay. Well, we hope to touch base with you later on after your conference and check out what is the enthusiasm for Indian mid-cap stocks. At the moment, with the retail audience, of course, the confidence is running low. It's always a pleasure speaking with you, Gautam Chowcharya. Thank you very much for joining us this morning with your fresh from the oven report on some choice mid-caps that you like.
Okay, well, let's get back to the markets now. Just before 10 a.m., let's find out what are the stocks you should be looking at. By the way, the market has bounced back. So the Nifty and the Sensex are well in the green. The Sensex, in fact, is up more than 100 points right now. And look at the mid-caps. A sudden rally is what we've seen in the mid-cap space, all the way to a gain of about 0.6%. Now, mid-cap index up about 120-odd points. Names like Coal India, Sun Pharma, Lupin, India Bulls Housing are all in the green. Ashwini Gujral is back with us. Mitesh Thakkar and Sandeep Pagle will also join in. Ashwini, there is this little bit of covering, I guess, that the market is seeing right now. But how would you read into it? You reckon that it could get sold into sharply?
See, our zone is about 10,650 thereabouts. So, everything that falls, bounces back. And the way mid-caps have bounced back, that smacks of short covering. So, too early to get bullish. But if the market rallies before the event, then chances are a post-event rally becomes more and more difficult. So, I mean, you cannot think that we have bottomed out, but it's just a nice rally to shake out a few of the shorts. Maybe closer to the policy, you could be, if you are at high point of the day, then, you know, whatever the RBI says, chances of downside increase. So, you know, people who could not get out of their mid caps, etc., this is the time to do that. And that's what will probably happen from here till 10,650, that people will, you know, get out of wherever they are stuck. Now, we are continuing with that CNX IT theme. So, if mid-cap IT is kind of bouncing back, this is still good time to get short there. KPIT is a sell with a stop of 256, target of 242. NIT Tech is a sell with a stop of 985, target of 950. And Hexaware is a sell with a stop of 407, target of 385. The stops may have been disturbed a little bit because of this short covering, but overall keep a nifty stop that you should remain short with a stop, say, about 10,640, 650.
Okay. Actually, I was going to ask you about tech stocks, but also Tech Mahindra, Ashwini?
See, basically, this is as a group. You know, everybody is hiding here. That's where people have made money. So chances are that as a group, all of these stocks should correct fairly strongly, because you cannot have a indefinitely narrowing market. So this is the fresh group which is now coming under selling.
Okay, Mitesh Thakkar and Sandeep Wagle are also joining in now. For now, actually, some of these NBFCs are looking pretty good. So, Indiabulls Housing, Bajaj Finance, Bajaj Finserv, as we discussed, are moving with strength. Sandeep, would you trade any of them now?
Sonia, Bajaj Finance looks interesting, though it is not showing that momentum. But I think if it is able to cross 2150, a big move can come in. Currently at 2128 or something around that. I would wait for that breakout of 2145, 2148. It can go beyond 2300. The pattern is very, very interesting. I would go with a buy in a Sun TV, stop loss of 912, target of 936. And a sell in a Z Entertainment, stop loss 545, target 522.
Okay. Well, with that, let's invite Mitesh yet again. Good morning again, Mitesh. What are you trading? Is it again all sells?
No, I do have one buy call, Lata, and Marico, I think, and a couple of FMCG names are showing strength. Godrej Consumer, Marico do look good on the chart. So, you know, we've been shorting, but I would want to add something on the long side as well. So, Marico is a buy with a stop at 324 for targets of 340, and I still believe that the technology stocks will have some more downsides despite a good pullback. So, this pullback can be used to sell into. So, Hexaware is a sell. Keep your stop at 420. Look for targets of 390.
Okay. I wanted to ask you all about Power Grid. That's shown a minor uptick. Today, Power will be in the news, and this is, of course, is one of those safe stocks. Ashwini, Power Grid?
I mean, you know, till problems are solved, I think it's early to get overexcited on Power. But it's anyway been a fairly big dog. It'll probably protect your money. I think that's about the positives here. I don't think Power stocks are showing a great amount of upside.
No mincing words, I would say. Mitesh, in the same vein, Coal India, I mean, that will also be a much discussed commodity today in the power discussions. Is the stock giving any opportunity either ways?
Yeah, in fact, I want to consider, and I did consider Coal India as a buy call right now. I think the pattern is quite positive. It's given a 2-3 day kind of pullback. So, you know, I think a good buying range would be closer to about 285, 286. Keep a stop below 280. And I still believe that this is stock which, while slowly, might head towards 310, 15 over the coming few weeks.
Okay, well, for now, you also have a couple of these beaten down stocks, you know, names like Tirumalai, Chemicals, etc., that are bouncing back a tad bit. These are mid-caps that have fallen 40-50% this year, and now names like Tirumalai are up almost about 7-8% odd. DB Realty, JP Power, of course, a 3 rupee stock, but even the other ones, Minda Corp, etc., are all trading in the green right now. By the way, from the index, don't lose sight of the beaten down telecom names, because there's some amount of you know, up move coming in there. Bharti Airtel is now well in the green. Would you trade any of the telecom names at all?
I'm not really positive on the telecom space, so I would still feel that there is some more downside. This is a bounce back that can be sold into. So on the short side, not on the long side.
Actually, that Nielsen report which he alluded to on cheap data, and he said the companies are not able to participate there in the trenches. He does say that perhaps further cuts will not be there in data prices.
Oh, absolutely. Looking at all the informal workforce, as he called it, the drivers, the maids, etc., all now on their phones lately.
Absolutely, watching movies even. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for giving us your 10 a.m. trades, and we will seek your help yet again on the hour. For the moment, it's 10, and it's time we got some commodity trades as well. First, a roundup of the price trends with Manisha Gupta. Morning, Manisha, again.
Thank you so much for that, Lata. Well, it is positive opening for many of the commodities in the day today, starting with the crude oil prices. And while even as we saw nearly 1.5% decline in the overnight markets, we have started Asia on a positive note. And this is because the markets are anticipating a second week of decline in case of U.S. inventories. So on your screen, 6-10% of gains is what we have started the day with. A bit of a concern, of course, is the fact that hedge fund money and the money managers are moving away. And if you look at the long positions on the U.S. crude, those are the lowest in last 2 months. So the profit taking has continued on every uptick that you have seen come in for the crude oil prices. But as we have been telling you almost every day, it is going to be about 22nd June. Ahead of that, it is going to be a volatile move continuing for this space. Take a look at the gold and silver prices, and finally a bit of gain is what we saw in the markets yesterday. It's trading around $1,300 per ounce, and the silver price is also gained up by 0.5%. Very flat trades coming in on your screen right now, almost inching towards 31,000 when it comes to the gold MCX prices there. So has been a good overnight gains in the Asian markets. Haven't seen a follow-through buying coming for that one though. Okay. In the base metal prices, we have seen good gains continue on to that one. In the Shanghai, LME and the US markets yesterday, all the 3 time zones actually saw very strong gains coming in. But again, as I said, no follow-through buying in this space as well. So we are looking at very flat trades coming in for this space as well. Having said that, we are trading on the upper side of the range. You have the copper prices trading at a 3-month highs. Aluminum prices have seen very strong gains come in as well. Lead prices are trading at 18-month highs on Shanghai, 4-month highs on LME. We have seen the nickel prices gain up by nearly 3% already in this week. So some profit taking because of that. And the zinc as well has seen 2.5% gains overnight. So some bit of a decline or profit taking is what we can see onto that one. There are some reports on how there has been an explosion in an iron ore mine in China. That is a premium that you will see building up in those prices as well. Trading strategies, and we have them from Nirmal Bang, a couple of buying ideas really. For the crude oil prices, they're looking at upside targets of 4,500. It also is a constant buy call in copper prices with targets at 479 for the day today.
Okay, thank you very much, Manisha. I'm just looking at the gold price in rupees. I don't think it's gone beyond 32,500 after the highs it touched in 2012, has it? I'm not poking fun at you. We'll take a break on that note. When we return, we will head back to the Morgan Stanley Investor Summit, where Surabhi Upadhyay is waiting by with another guest, their banking analyst Anil Agarwal. That's lined up. There they are chatting off cam. But we will get to that conversation in a bit after this break.